In this session, we'll learn the basics of biological neural network located in human brain, and we'll see how the artificial neural network that powers AI and machine learning models is derived from the same network. Our brain is a network of neurons. A neuron is basically a cell in our nervous system. There are about 85 billion neurons in our brain. To give you a perspective, that's roughly the number of stars in our Milky Way galaxy. That's right, we have around 100 billion stars in the entire Milky Way galaxy. Each of these neurons is essentially a cell in a nervous system. These neurons communicate with each other using chemical and electrical signals. That's how the information is transmitted between different parts of our brain and between our brain and the rest of our nervous system. Let's take this one step further. So, the information received from different parts of our body, such as skin, ear, tongue, eyes, serves as an input to our brain or our biological neural network. The decisions made by these biological neural network enables us to walk, climb, swim, and run. The artificial neural network works in the exact same manner. Replace brain with your computer. This is a simple way of visualizing an artificial neural network. So on the left, you have inputs, which is basically the data collected through different sensors and devices. Social media networks, our phones, tablets, laptops, and IoT devices continuously generate data. This data is then fed to the artificial neural network. Think about the artificial neural network as a computer that uses mathematical functions to analyze this data and make predictions. The output in this case is an AI model that can help us make predictions and solve complex problems. So, what does an artificial neural network look like? We'll see that in the next slide. The artificial neural network is made up of a bunch of artificial neurons, also known as perceptrons. These artificial neurons are connected to each other through multiple layers. You must be wondering, what are these artificial neural networks or neurons made up of? Each of these artificial neurons are known as perceptron. They are simply a mathematical function. So, artificial intelligence or AI models are made up of artificial neural networks. And artificial neural networks are made up of perceptrons, which is nothing but a mathematical functions. But wait a minute, what does this mathematical function look like? Let's take a look at the perceptron or the mathematical function and a way of representing an artificial neuron. So, we first collect inputs, which is the data that is collected through different sources. We label each of these elements in dataset as x of I, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, and x of m, where m is the size of our dataset. We then apply weights to this data and pass this weighted data to a summation function. The reason we apply weights is because certain elements in our dataset will have more influence on our prediction compared to others. Hence, we need to adjust the weights such that we are able to assign a level of importance to each element. Then, we pass this weighted and summated dataset through a nonlinear function. You must be wondering, what's the role of this nonlinear function? We'll cover that in a bit. But for now, understand that the weighted and summated dataset is passed to a nonlinear function post which the perceptron generates an output which is basically the predictions made by our model. So, if we were to summarize the perceptron using a mathematical function, this is what it would look like. This represents the simplest form of building block of artificial neural network or perceptron. You take the inputs from digital devices or sources. You add weights, you sum those up, and pass that through a nonlinear function. The output you get are the predictions made by our AI model. Now let's understand the role of this nonlinear function. If I were to predict the kind of movies you like to watch, and I made these predictions, let's say, by asking you the genre and the actors or the actresses you like, chances are my predictions will be inaccurate. But now, if I take a step back and I ask you, well, tell me more about the genre, the actors, the actors, and the directors you like. Also, tell me more about your life goals, the social ecosystem, the school and colleges that you attended, and the type of music you like. And then if I made these predictions, chances are my predictions will be more accurate. So, the decisions we make today are non-linear, meaning they are dependent on numerous factors. Hence, to model these non-linearities, we need nonlinear functions. So, neural networks allow us to model non-linearities. This enables us to make predictions that are accurate. Now let's summarize what we have learned so far. We started with human brain. A brain is basically a network of neurons. These biological neurons communicate with each other using chemical and electrical impulses and enable us to make decisions in our life. Similarly, artificial neural network is made up of artificial neurons also known as perceptrons. Each artificial neural network or a neuron is essentially a mathematical function that allows us to model our data. We learned that these artificial neurons are also known as perceptrons, and they are essentially a mathematical function that helps us build our AI models. We also learned that nonlinearity plays a key role in our ability to make decisions, and hence it's a fundamental component of artificial neural networks. Hope you enjoyed this session. In the next session, we'll learn the difference between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning.